Good Wednesday afternoon, March the 15th, 2023. In this video, we're going to break this video out into several sections. So this could be a 20 to 30 minute video. We're going to be looking at the severe weather for the deep south. We're going to be also talking about the southeast because there's more heavy rain coming to your area. And then, of course, we're going to be looking at the north central U.S. because there's a big snowstorm coming that could deliver as much as 5 inches all the way up to perhaps 25 inches of snowfall, especially for the up portion there of Michigan. And then, of course, we need to take a look at the western U.S. because more big storms, heavy snow, flood concerns, and strong winds are on the way. Now, if you are enjoying these detailed weather videos and updates on my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing. It really means a lot, folks, because you guys are really awesome, very supportive for the work that I do on an everyday basis at providing the most accurate honesty weather information as much as possible on the channel. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing right now, hitting the like button, and sharing this video with your family and friends on social media. Not only that, but Evan James has put together a very awesome weather website. The website is called Mesovort WX. So if you haven't known about this website yet, I would suggest clicking the link below this video leading to you on the Mesovort WX weather website. It is so much fun, you all. You guys get to view posts. You guys get to interact with each other. In fact, if I go over here and click on posts, you'll be able to see that I have posted something on the atmospheric river. There's different engagements here. It's a really good website. I would really highly recommend participating in that. Not only that, you could also participate in the Mesovort WX Discord server. There's a link also in the description below that, but there's just many ways you could interact with a lot of people in that. And speaking of Discord, you could also participate and join my Weather Force Discord server. There is a link in the description below this video if you all want to participate in that. And there you go. There's Candy S talking in general chat. Hallelujah on that part on this video. Yep, you got a shout out, Candy. But yeah, all those links in the description below this video if you want to participate in them. Also, they're free, so don't freak out. So now, to the full detail in the weather department, tracking the weather around where you are currently. So here's a look at the water vapor imagery, and we can see there are a couple of weather disturbances moving across the United States as we speak. The one is over here in the extreme northeast. This is moving out. This is responsible for a couple of feet of snowfall that fell over across portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. It's been a real wild mess with Winter Storm Sage that impacted the area. Now you're all getting prepped for another snowstorm, but this time it is going to be felt up here across the upper Midwest, especially the Great Lakes. But really, I mean the Great Lakes, like the northern Great Lakes, which will get the most impacts from that. And it's all coming from this disturbance right up here with another surface low that is developing underneath it. This active weather will be moving into the Great Lakes within the next 24 to 36 hours, bringing some serious heavy snow, very strong winds that will blow down trees, power lines. We could also be looking at some blizzard conditions associated with that snowstorm because there's going to be a lot of wind energy associated with it. And then, of course, much of the West is looking pretty quiet now, but that's not going to last for too much longer as we get ready for more atmospheric rivers coming our way for the weekend into early next week. So here's a look at the weather alerts as of right now. This was updated like 1 minute ago, but when this video gets out, it'll probably be about a couple of hours old. But we can see there are winter storm warnings across the Rockies here. All these areas in pink here indicating that there's going to be quite a bit of heavy snowfall leading to the winter storm warnings. And then, of course, look at this. For the northern central portion of the U.S., where you're under winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, part of our next winter storm as it develops on the leeward side of the Rockies. You know, it's the springtime snow storms that become a problem, and they're the more dynamic. And then, of course, further south here, there's going to be severe weather that is anticipated with wind advisories over central and northwestern Oklahoma. And then, believe it or not, there are freeze warnings and frost advisories issued for the southeast. I mean, this is mid-March, and you're not supposed to have temperatures this cold this time of the year for the deep southeast region, and it's going to warm up nicely, though, once the pattern changes. Flood watches continue over Arizona and southern Nevada, with flood warnings still in place for some of the rivers across northern and southern California. So let's get talking about that snowstorm for the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes, and then portions of the central northern tier of the U.S. All right, so the blue colors on your screen, okay, I don't want to confuse you here, indicate light to moderate snowfall. You might see some green colors. That's rain. All right, and then anything in between is usually snow or rain, snow, sleet, and freezing rain, kind of in the mix. So let's put this forward. This is the HRRR, by the way. So this is the high resolution rapid refresh model. So when we go forward, we can see the surface flow is going to develop where I think it's going to develop, right? We looked at water vapor. So the models indicate 993 millibars over western Kansas. All right, that's a pretty deep surface low, and we get that trough that kind of extends to the north into southwestern portion there of Minnesota. But look at this. The system is going to get more stronger. Part of that defluence aloft. We got a lot of baroclinic energy along this, and so there's going to be a lot of moisture being squeezed out in the form of snow on the backside. And then, of course, out in front of it, we're going to see some rainfall and maybe some storms that are non-severe over here in, say, Missouri and Illinois. But along this boundary, there might be a little bit of freezing rain and sleet that is in the mix. That's the purple that you see with some kind of red colors in there that indicates kind of that rain-snow transition line. This is going to continue to be a big problem by the time we go into Thursday afternoon. So if you are in Wisconsin, Michigan, into Illinois, into, say, St. Louis, Missouri, might get some severe thunderstorms, perhaps maybe a marginal risk at the very most for some strong storms in the central, southeastern Missouri area, as again, that cold front swings its way through, and then once that gets into, say, portions of Michigan, you get these northwesterly winds on the backside. What does that mean? Well, it might mean some blizzard conditions, especially up here to the north where there has been some fresh snow that has fallen. So keep that in mind. May see some reduced visibilities associated with this. And that's a strong surface low. 987 millibars for Friday morning, 40 hours out. But it's going to be snowing pretty hard up here in the upstate portion of Michigan and northernmost Wisconsin because of that storm. That is going to be a big problem. And it's still snowing there all the way through Friday morning. So now, how much snowfall could you see out of this ugly winter storm? Well, right now, some of the models indicate maybe 3 to 5 inches of snow across, say, Nebraska here. You might see 2 to 4 inches of snowfall across northwestern Iowa, southern portion there of Minnesota. But look at this. The most snow is going to fall across northern portion there of Wisconsin, where you might see localized amounts up to 6 to 8 inches of snowfall. But look at this, maybe a foot of snow possible there across that looks to be Manitoba, Canada. I know I need to learn Canadian states a little bit better, but either way you put it, that's going to be across the upstate portion there of Michigan, and then into central southern Canada, where you might see up to a foot of snow expected with this winter storm. So now we're going to transition, and we're now going to talk about the south central U.S., like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and even southern Illinois and southern Indiana. Because, yeah, there's severe weather that is going to be developing on Thursday. And yes, we could be looking at some significant large hail, strong winds, and tornadoes. And yes, it might be a live stream day for me too on the YouTube channel. So make sure you stay up to date on the channel for that. So let's go forward here for the south central U.S. Storms do look to fire up here right around, say, about 3 to 4 in the afternoon in central daylight time. So say from central southern Oklahoma eastward, you get semi-discrete supercells that do look to fire up along that boundary. The difference between cooler air to the north, warmer moist air to the south, and when these both collide, we get a storm that pops up along this boundary, and it can be severe. In this case, we are looking at a line of severe storms capable of large hail that could reach 2 to 3 inches in diameter, some damaging wind gusts. This continues all the way into right around, this is about 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time, not Standard Time anymore. You can see some prefrontal convection across Arkansas. So perhaps like Little Rock, Fayetteville, Arkansas might get some pretty intense storms, some semi-discrete storms there capable of tornadoes. Maybe for Dallas-Fort Worth area, you might get an isolated intense thunderstorm capable of some large hail, damaging wind gusts of at least 60 plus miles an hour. And then over here across eastern Texas, you got a pop-up storm that is anticipated. Get away, fly. You're in my face. All right, and then going forward here through the overnight hours of Thursday into Friday, we get a shower or two that is anticipated as that line of storms continues to sag further south and into, say, the deep south regions like Mississippi and Alabama. But again, these could remain quite severe, capable of some strong wind gusts and some large hail. So how much rainfall can you expect out of these storms? Well, right now, the NAM 12-kilometer model is saying that you might get as much as maybe about a half an inch to maybe an inch in central and southeastern Oklahoma. If you're in central and eastern Texas, maybe as much as an inch or so of rainfall. But look at this, maybe up to about an inch to an inch and a half elsewhere across Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and northern Louisiana, where that line of storms sags is where you're going to get most of the heaviest rainfall. And some of these storms could be training, which means there might be some pretty significant flooding in some of these areas. And you don't need any more rain. You've just been getting bashed, just like California. Just been getting too much water down there. But it's good, right? You need it. You definitely need to keep the soil saturated so you're able to get water. So now, temperatures for the deep south. Well, it's looking pretty nice for some locations for this afternoon. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s, 70s across western Texas with light winds. And that's going to continue all the way through tomorrow. Temperatures going into the low to mid 80s from central into southern Texas, maybe even get 90 degrees down here in McAllen portion. And then in southeastern Texas, 75 plus degrees expected, upper 60s to low 70s for the deep south ahead of that cold front. But once this cold front really surges in, your temperatures are going to plummet. I mean, daytime highs in the upper 40s, low 50s in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama once that cooler air moves on in. And your overnight lows could be downright chilly in the low to mid 40s. So maybe some frost advisories could be needed in this portion of the U.S., especially for the deep south. All right, so now severe weather. We need to talk about this. This is definitely a concern. We are talking a pretty populated area here in southern and southeastern Oklahoma, much of Texas. You've seen it too much this year. In northwestern Louisiana, southwestern Arkansas, you're expecting to see a slight and enhanced risk for severe weather. According to the Storm Prediction Center, that's this orange area on your screen, an indication you are going to see a pretty elevated threat for severe thunderstorms. This is driven by a 5% chance of tornadoes. So the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if you're in northeasternmost Texas there, southern and southeastern Oklahoma, southwestern Arkansas, northwestern Louisiana, a 5% chance of tornadoes. It's not a 10 yet. We'll see if they want to go a little higher on that in future outlooks, but right now it's just a 5% chance of tornadoes. That means there is a risk for spin-ups along with those supercells. Embedded within the supercells too, we might see some really large hail like this. So this is our wind forecast actually, and you can see the SPC has issued a 30% non-SIG, hear me out, non-SIG for strong winds. That means wind gusts are likely to reach 65 miles an hour in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, in southeastern Oklahoma, southwestern Arkansas, as well as the tippy-tip northwesternmost county there of, or parish of Louisiana, under that 30% risk for some strong winds. But that's not all. There is your significant 30 for large hail. We could see hailstones 2, maybe 3+ inches in diameter here. This is a hail that will dent your cars. It will bust your windshields. We could see property damage due to these large hailstones. So really watch out. When you get caught under a supercell, if you're storm chasing, you really need to be aware of this, okay? Because it gets expensive when your car gets destroyed. Reed Timmer's car, I've seen a lot of dents on his hood, on his windshield, busted windshields. Really be careful. Hail is something you do not want to mess with. All right, it can really injure you, especially when you get 2+ inches in diameter. And that's what the SPC really asks for you all to be aware of. There's a 30% SIG here for a very populated area of Dallas-Fort Worth area, due to some supercellular structures that are anticipated. Not only that, there is also a risk for heavy rainfall. Slight risk for eastern Texas, central northwestern Louisiana, central and southern Arkansas. A slight risk for heavy rainfall has been issued. So it is now time to talk about the southeast. I don't want to forget about any of you that live down here. Okay, I have a lot of viewers that watch me from Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Alabama, and Mississippi. So what about your area? What are you going to be seeing? Well, you're going to be seeing the same severe weather that the deep south and the south central U.S. is going to be seeing. All right, so when we go forward here, we can see that line of storms will be moving through, say, Mississippi, Alabama, right around Friday early afternoon. This is right around, say, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock for Georgia, right around that time period. You're expecting to see some strong thunderstorms for your Friday, and these will propagate further east into the Carolinas, Virginia, and western Florida there, the Panhandle, and southern Georgia by about early Saturday morning. So you may hear some rumbles of thunder, get some severe weather out of this as that boundary continues to move further to the east. So of course, that's not all. You're going to see another system that might pop up, okay? And this is the GFS model that I wanted to show you all because there's been some talk about this. Is this going to develop? Is this going to be another nor'easter? It doesn't look like it. So let's go forward here on the GFS for the next 6 days, and we can see there is the disturbance that we're watching closely for these, basically for the northwestern Gulf of Mexico. This is going to try to continue to develop more nicely by Tuesday, next Tuesday, that is, March 21st. It could be pretty dynamic here. Some heavy rainfall for northern Florida, strong winds from the north across Georgia associated with this disturbance. But notice it kind of moves offshore. It's only going to be a rain nor'easter. If you want to even say nor'easter, you can go right ahead, but I don't think it's really a nor'easter by any means because it's not in the northeast. But you can see some moderate to heavy rainfall that is anticipated with that. The Euro model, not really doing much with this system. It really doesn't have much other than just a stalled out front here over central Georgia, like Orlando, Florida. If you're in Tampa, Florida, Sarasota, Florida, you might get some inclement weather out of this for early next week, but really not wanting to do much with the system versus the GFS model, which yields strong disagreement. So you might see some YouTubers saying, oh, this is going to be a big storm. Oh my gosh, it's going to be... We don't know yet. There's a lot of disagreement in the numerical forecasts. So when we take a look at accumulated precipitation, I'm only going out to 5 days for that reasoning because we are not sure how that system is going to develop. Anyways, though, anywhere between maybe an inch to maybe a couple of inches of rainfall for the deep south. For the southeast here, like Florida, might get as much as 1 to maybe 2 inches in the next 5 days. Temperatures, we want to look at those. Temperatures right now, pretty chilly. It's going to get chillier. That's why there's a freeze warning, frost advisory issued for that reasoning. Temperatures are going to be in the low 40s, upper 30s overnight. Some of the higher elevations, maybe even some low to mid 20s. So some very chilly mornings ahead for your Thursday. But once this warmer air moves in by Friday, we can see temperatures are going to be in the 70s, even some 80s in Florida, and then the cold air comes on back in the wake of that cold front, and it could get cold again for portions of Tennessee. Temperatures probably in the 20s and 30s for your morning hours. I mean, and this is mid-March, and it's not supposed to be this cold, so make sure you do bundle up accordingly. There's also severe weather that is anticipated for the southeast. A slight risk for severe weather for eastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and western Florida panhandle. Slight risk, a level 2 out of 5 on the severity weather index scale here. This is driven by a non-SIG for severe weather probability, so we're not looking at anything big at this moment, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is driven by a tornado threat, maybe some large hail probabilities too, especially for the slight risk areas involved. Okay, also, what about flooding? Well, there's only a marginal risk for heavy rainfall. This could get upgraded in later outlooks. This is the Day 3 excessive rain outlook made by the Weather Prediction Center. This includes for Atlanta, Georgia, northern Georgia, central southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, north or southwestern Louisiana, and even the panhandle there of Florida, under a 5 to 10% risk for heavy rainfall and flood concerns. Last but not least on our list to-dos is the West. We want to talk about the West really quickly because that's been the talk lately. Heavy rain, flooding, atmospheric river Mageddon, heavy snow Mageddon going on. It's just been very bad here recently, and we're not done. So let's go forward. Looking good for the next couple of days through Friday and maybe even into Saturday looks a-okay. But by Sunday is when we might get some of the showers returning as we look here on the GFS model. Some of the greens there indicate light rainfall accumulations anticipated. That's the first disturbance. And then there's another one. That's Sunday. Let's go into Monday. A much stronger disturbance similar to the last one we have had. More heavy rainfall, more Sierra snowfall involved here with pressure down at 996 on that second impulse of energy. But that's not it. It continues. Another system moves in by Tuesday into Wednesday. More heavy snowfall for the mountains, more light to moderate, maybe even heavier rainfall for much of California. All right, so it's just storm after storm, and then that departs. And if we look out further, we might have more storm systems getting involved here. It's just one after another. And so by the time this is all done, we could have another 1 to 3 inches of rainfall in many locations with up to maybe 4 inches of rainfall for the coastal range mountains, including for Southern California. We don't need any more rain. I repeat, we don't need any more rain, and we're just going to get a lot more of it coming our way. And so really quickly, our temperatures definitely chilly today. They're going to remain cool out there, 50s and 60s in the forecast for California. And that continues all the way through Friday, all the way through Saturday. We're really not going to see much of a warm up, staying in the 50s from here on out. Maybe a 60 degree here and there, maybe like Bakersfield and Fresno, but otherwise many areas are going to be stuck cold, even SoCal there at 51 degrees for your for your Saturday afternoon into Sunday. Now, before I do end the video, everyone, I really cannot stress enough, if you're new to the channel and you really like these YouTube videos, the detailed weather content that I do provide, please consider subscribing. It really means a lot to me. I like making these videos for the sole factor that I enjoy weather. That's my passion, right? And it's going to get to the point where I start storm chasing. I'm working on getting my license, hopefully by the 3rd of April. That's the kind of the celebration that I passed my behind the wheel test, so we're able to storm chase hopefully by next winter and next fall, or this fall and maybe next winter, just depending on how things end up being. All right, and so if you haven't subscribed yet, if you haven't shared this yet, please consider doing so, because it really means a lot, and leave an awesome comment in the section below the video. Also, be sure to check out the Mesovort WX. There's a link in the description below this video leading to that. Evan James, you're awesome. I mean, let's grow the website. Let's make this a bigger, awesomer website for a lot of people. So again, that's Mesovort WX weather website. If you want to participate in it, there's a link in the description. Last but not least, if you want to participate in the Weather Force Discord server, Evan is in there, the website hostess. He's really great. And yeah, I've got a good staff team. So if you want to come on down, please be sure you participate in it. There's also a link to the Discord server, and of course, everything here is free. There's no cost whatsoever unless you want to donate using super thanks in my YouTube videos. But otherwise, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching.